Namaste and welcome to a brand new episode of MD Speaks. This is Aruna Ravikumar and I'm excited to bring before you an insightful discussion on what makes BARSYL different from the rest of its ilk. Today, apart from MD Sunil Srivastava, we are joined by two directors, Manoranjan Pershad and Ramakrishnan, and we'll find out what makes BARSYL different. Hello Sunil.
Hi Aruna, good to see you back again.
Yeah, so we want to know, apart from, is it technical expertise, is it perfect customer and relations and partnership, or anything else? What makes BARSYL different from the rest of the companies?
Yeah, there are a couple of things which make BARSYL different or stand out. One, of course, is the very fact that we are a very focused and a specialized rail consulting company, which is very rare kind of service which offers globally. And within the rail also, quite a lot of companies actually specialize in one element of the railway system, whereas we actually offer, in that sense, multidisciplinary railway service. So that is one of our key differentiators, and because of which we are actually able to focus more on specialized areas. The other thing is, in terms of our, what you call the innovation which we bring in terms of looking at projects, we normally don't look at projects by scale or size. We normally look for projects where technical skill can be, either we can learn or we can showcase our technical skills. So we do not want to get kind of classified as run-of-the-mill consultants. So we normally look for really niche kind of areas which will help us get more visibility as well as strengthen our technical knowledge. So that is some challenges.
So you're telling me you're not limited by the size of the project,
yes.
not having big mega projects or small projects. You're ready to take on anything.
Exactly. In fact, size is not a consideration for us at all. If it is interesting, if it is going to challenge us, we definitely are interested. So that's our first criteria. So this is another difference, because most of the time, any business house, frankly, normally looks for volumes first.
Correct, correct.
But then, yes, one is, for us, we don't treat this as a business. For us, this is, like I said, more a technical skill which we impart, a solution which we provide. So that's why we look for challenging projects. So this is another differentiator.
Normally people want simple things.
Exactly, yeah, because they look at more on the commerce side of it. Whereas for us, commerce is secondary, because we know that if we have a good project, we will definitely make money. So that's the differentiation. We think that, yes, especially in solutions, if we are able to give a good solution, the client is willing to pay. So automatically the money will follow. So for us, that is an important thing. Not success is not by the size of the project. Success to us is by the quality of the skill which we are able to impart or the impact which we are able to make. So success is defined for us by impact. So that is another key differentiator which we bring in. So a lot of times it happens that larger companies which don't want to look at those projects because of the challenges or because it is low value, we are able to enter and make a difference in that project. So that immediately we get focused on. And the other major aspect which we look at is we normally look around partnership as our major area. We normally partner with people, other consultants, and look at that as our differentiator, so that we are able to kind of get bigger and bigger opportunities. So that wherever, even if we have a small opportunity to play in an interesting project, we are open to that.
Yeah, we spoke about this aspect in our earlier episode.
Yeah, that's been a policy for us, that we would like to continue doing that kind of thing, so that we get exposed to much wider range of projects. Because if we were to go alone, we would not have had a chance maybe. So we are happy to be a small player, but then yes, as long as we are gaining in the whole bargain. So this is another key differentiator. The other one which we over a year which we built up is the credibility both in the kind of industry, both in terms of stakeholders, employees, clients, everybody, that if we commit to a project, then we deliver. Irrespective of whether we are going to make money or not, that is not the thought.
Trust is key.
Yes, exactly. So, and that is across, like I said, be it our vendors, be it our staff, be it our employees, we ensure that yes, once we have committed to a particular delivery or a particular amount or whatever it is, come what may, we make sure that yes, there could be delays, there could be issues, but then we deliver. So that is another differentiator we can bring in, because of which I think a lot of people like to work with us, a lot of people want to join us, because they're having, especially people who've been in the industry for long, they know that yes, having kind of worked with other companies, other organizations, they find that yes, there is some kind of trust factor which comes into play, the kind of projects they will get to work on, and the kind of commercial interest is taken care, so they don't have to chase around. Same thing with the vendors and other stakeholders also. approach. So these I feel are the major key differentiators which sets us apart, and because yes, we are up against large conglomerates, large companies. So these things is what we want to
But
continue
you're
doing.
undeterred because you always think big.
Yeah, in fact, now coming to the last point is that yes, while we were continue to be small or in that sense local, but we think global.
Yeah.
That has always been our. That we don't to put a simple phrase, we are not a Indian railway consulting company. We are a railway consulting company based in India.
Wow.
So that's the difference between it.
That's
Yes.
a nice line. And now we'll talk about partnerships, and
Yes.
I think I'll ask Manoranjan Pershad about strategic partnerships and the ecosystem that makes BARSYL different from other companies, from competition.
There are a couple of aspects that go into it. One is historically or the legacy of BARSYL has been, whenever we participate in projects or in assignments, we try to work in partnership and in consortiums.
Okay.
Thereby what happens is we are taking the strength of the consortium and adding our own skills. Thereby we are making our own presence in that particular project far larger and more harmonious, because each one's skill is getting added, and that has a cascading impact on the delivery that we perform. That is one aspect. The second aspect that comes about when we work jointly in consortiums on such projects, and this we extend both to our domestic as well as international projects. And when we are doing this, predominantly one factor that comes quite glaringly across is that one is we eliminate competition, because a couple of consortium partners, when they join us, we are able to reduce the competition. Otherwise they would also be bidding.
Okay.
And those are large houses, they can definitely on their own strength do that. But when we join hands with them, we are able to bring to the client the technical expertise across the segment. And those are factors which play a major role in our decision when we work strategically with consortium partners.
So you become a bigger group.
It's a bigger consortium, and we have maybe 3 or 4 depending on the size of the project. If it is small, it could be 1+1. If it's a bigger project, like one example is we are working in Tanzania on an SGR line, which is 760 kilometers long.
Okay.
That project we have got 8 partners.
My God.
Yes. So obviously working with 8 partners is also which adds to your skill, that is you're working in cooperation and conjunction, because there are times when even 1 or 2 partners could be difficult to handle.
Exactly.
But
what are the hiccups that you face when,
Yes.
8 partners is not easy.
It's not easy.
Yes.
So yes, we do have committees among the consortium partners, and the leader takes the onus on bringing all the consortium partners together. He shares the workload as well as also monitors with regard to the progress and does the client interface on behalf of the consortium so as to ensure that the delivery and the client satisfaction is maintained.
So you iron out differences before you go to the
Yes.
client, because
Yes.
obviously you can't be drawn in 8 directions.
We do have meetings before we go to the client.
Okay.
And we ensure that in these meetings, among the partners, if there are any concerns, those get addressed. And also, we make sure that the client's concerns, which do come to us in various communications, are also discussed there. And when we go to the client as a consortium under the leadership of the consortium leader, we are able to address the concerns of the client and bring about to the client our concerns so as to get them also addressed from the client perspective. So this is how consortiums do work, and in the process the client benefits. We also are able to broaden our own horizon and also learn from the skill sets what the others have, so that in the next project that we do, we are able to, from our learnings, carry forward what we have imbibed from this project.
That's very interesting. We'll ask Ramakrishnan how, apart from legacy, what are the aspects that give you a competitive edge over your rivals or your colleagues or companies with a similar working pattern?
Hey, hello, fellow Barsylians. You have been going through this for the last, I think, 6 months.
Yeah.
And from SS, I think you would have learned most of the things, right? There's anything that I am going to tell you may not become new, but nevertheless. Can you repeat the question?
Okay. So, well, apart from legacy, how are you stitching up these alliances or partnerships?
See,
and what is it? What are you able to do that your rivals or others in the field are not able to do?
That's a good question, because the clients do not know till they meet us what is to expect, because they have been expecting a normal thing. But whereas our expertise, knowledge, experience, value propositions, technology backup, information backup, everything else is quite different from any of their normal vendors. So they don't know most of the time that when they come up with a problem, that's not the problem. We try to find out what's the problem first. There itself it is a revelation for them. Oh, okay, maybe that my problem is not what I thought. So that needs a very deep understanding and knowledge and expertise, and the resources that BARSYL has built up over the years is pretty large. We can reach to anybody, both within the country and outside the country, and depending on the specific nature of client's problem, we bring in the specialized expertise.
So the most important thing you are telling me is technical expertise.
Basically, yes, because consulting, we are technical consultants.
Yes.
Design and engineering consultants. So basically that we
that
need...
itself gives you a lot of strength.
So legacy, yes, they know about the past. But then what we are normally dealing with is the future, right? What will give them the best solution? And that is based on what? The right definition of the problem. And then bringing in the resources that we can only gather. That's mainly because, because of who? Right next to you. Sunil probably has, I don't know, maybe 30,000 people on his rolls.
Oh God.
So whom he can reach out to. So that is a basic strength.
And different locations.
Different location. I think he has not yet gone to Mars, and otherwise there's no place on earth that he would leave to unearth the right resource, the right type of knowledge, technology, information that is required. So this is one of the basic strengths of BARSYL, that you come to us, then you know that it's a revelation to yourself that there is something beyond what you had so far envisaged, expected, but you know the real solution, the real expertise is available. So that takes us much beyond. See, the past, you know what we have done. The future, only we are able to kind of project and tell you. So that gives us BARSYL a real advantage.
So how long into the future are you able to tell?
See, any problem you want to solve is for taking you into the future, right?
Yeah.
Now.
But do you have a plan for that many years?
Yeah. Well, if it is railways, it may be decades. Not in years.
Yeah.
So any of our problem has.
I'm asking you this question because you're functioning within a system, right?
Yeah. We sometimes go out of the boundary, but then, but by and large, yes, within the system and within the overall technical.
With all its shortcomings, with its advantages, with its.
But nevertheless, I think at the end of it, if the customer is able to see that we have bring in value, which he otherwise would not have received, then he is happy and we feel proud also. And then it goes into our annals of our history to see for the posterior, so that people can learn. Our employees can look at it and then understand, okay, this is how we have done in the past. And they can now get the energy and the enthusiasm, also see that how they can proceed. So don't take any problem as what it is stated as a simple problem and it has only a definite set of solutions. Reach out to people who are available within within our organization, reach out to people who are available in the country or in fact anywhere in the globe. So that's what we bring to our customers.
Yeah, so from Ramakrishnan's words, I got many takeaways. One thing is knowledge is power, one thing is technical expertise is everything.
True.
Second thing is he said, expect the unexpected from the client's point of view. That's what you've been doing all this while. And then looking out for the best available talent wherever it is, whether within your organization or outside. So how have you been able to manage with these kind of partnerships? We got one insight about 8 partners. So have you had difficult partnerships? Have you had situations beyond your control sometimes?
Oh yes, definitely, because like they say, life is not bed of roses. So yes, you do get difficult partners, but then we feel that every partnership is a learning. Good or bad is definitely, but from everything you learn. So some places you learn something good, but some places you learn what not to do. So that way, yes, it's been a learning. But by and large, we've had good partners, very rare cases, because one is because of the value we bring in, the skill which we bring in, which the partners value, and that's where we are able to make a difference. So even if the relationship starts off on a rough note, but then when they are able to see that what we bring into the table, the value which we get in, it smoothens out, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to have a successful project, and everybody wants to kind of deliver to the client what they want. So that is something, and also overall what has happened is that since we work with multicultural partners, that adds to our cultural knowledge. And that makes it easier for us to work in other countries. So the learning we get is how each country works. Because each country has a different culture of working.
Correct.
So that's when I said that though we are local, but we are comfortable working globally. Quite a lot of it comes from working with those partners from those countries. That not necessarily that I would have, for example, worked in Italy to begin with, but if I work with Italian companies, I know how the process there is, how their decision making happens. So when I go for a project in Italy, it becomes easier for us to do that. And that's where even partners, other partners find it easy for us that instead of picking up somebody who's totally new to that area, they find that yes, we at least are aware of, and quite a lot of times it does happen that large international partners might not have ventured in those countries where we have gone. Not necessarily India. So they prefer, we can seem to have more knowledge about them, about the local conditions than they. So they find it very comfortable.
So your local partners help you overcome any hurdles pertaining to communication also. Sometimes you may be saying something different.
Yes. In fact,
and culturally also it happens. What you think you're saying right may offend the other person.
Absolutely. In fact, these are sensibilities which you have to keep in mind, especially when you're dealing with government officials and all. You have to be very clear. So these are something which we make sure, and that is where, like what Manoranjan said, that partners help us in learning. So next time we are better prepared. For example, there is a certain way of handling government officials in the Gulf region. They are very kind of still very very powerful people because they own the money. So they expect you to behave in a certain way. Whereas it's much more. India is not becoming. It's much easier now. India is becoming, because a lot more technocrats are now heading these client bases, and even a lot of the bureaucrats are now technocrats now. So it's much more easier now. They are willing to. Whereas say in developing countries where we work, there we have to make sure that we don't look down upon them. They need to. They might not know, but then since they come to us for a solution, we can't make them look ignorant. So these sensibilities are what actually keep us in good shape. Where, like I said, fortunately we worked almost across continents, right from the Western Hemisphere to the Eastern Hemisphere, everywhere. So these are nuances which we pick up when we work in those countries and make sure that we make the client as comfortable as possible. And this is something which I feel that partners come to us as a choice partner, even in a third country, not necessarily in India. For example, currently we are working in Saudi Arabia, which is one of the largest consulting projects going on there, where it's a German partner and an Indian partner. So none of us technically are local. That's it. It's only the German partner has a presence in Saudi Arabia, but then they find that they are more comfortable because we know the area much more than them. So this is something which I think is becoming our USP, that whichever country we choose to work, we normally would have had some knowledge about that. Very bright chances are we would have done some work there, because again, we don't rush into any country. There are selected countries which we've identified where we feel comfortable, where we feel yes, we can add value, and those are the countries we've been kind of developing to work. And that's something which I think even partners like that value we bring in. That's not
Yeah,
just
well, we
technical
spoke
skills.
about law and order problems, war-like situations,
Yes.
and how they've impacted your work.
True.
So the local partners help you
Yes.
overcome.
Yeah, because definitely the local partners always there to know the ground reality, which we might miss out because they are there 24/7. Chances are our team might not be there 24/7. So they are able to help us, guide us in things like that. Say for example, currently Israel. Now Israel was an opportunity which we are looking at very closely. But then our local partners have told us that yes, wait, this is not the right time. So, these kind of things it's always good to have a local partner who can guide us, and also the bureaucratic requirements from the documentation. So you don't waste time and energy in repeating documentation. Sometimes you need some local registrations, how the work permits are required first now. So that is where the local partners come in handy. Now, the dominant requirement from a local partner is not necessarily technical skill, but they should be, kind of able to guide us. That is what we look for. Because, see, when we are going to a country where there is no railway, you can't expect railway skill from them. But what we need from them is, yes, they should know the logistics, they should know the local bureaucracy, they should be able to help us, go through the documentation, accounting, statutory requirements, because we don't want to fail on any of those things. So that is where these local partners come in very handy.
Okay, and last Manoranjan, how have you been able to iron out differences between partners, or how do you identify partners in an area? Is it just the size? They may be smaller partners, like you said you're a small company. You may be dealing with another small partner. So is there a difference when you're going with a big group and with a company like yours, like in size and?
It's a combination of factors that come about. One is the geography of the client that we are trying to work for a project. Keeping those aspects in mind, then comes about which of the global partners that are available best suit for this project. Once we firm up that aspect of it, then comes in that what is the type of local support that will be required. There could be logistic support, there could be certain areas of support where the bureaucracy of that country has its own aspects and the ways to be dealt with. So the local partner brings in that strength to us. Like Sunil mentioned, that they have no knowledge with regard to the railway aspect of it, but they do know the administrative aspect of their own country and the methodologies. So keeping that factor in mind, we make a selection between a partner. Coming to larger partners, the technical requirement decides that. I'll give you an example. When we were bidding for an Oman railway project, we decided that we will go there as an Asian consortium. So we picked up Asian partners. And we thought, because over there, Oman and those countries were always used to European players coming there and making presentations. So we thought, if we have to be the differentiator and if we have to bring in the difference, we should bring in a new set of players who would be able to convince the client per se, saying that let's look at something new, a new idea if it gets presented. And that is how we went about submitting a bid for Oman. And this Asian consortium consisted 8 years back of a Korean company, Chinese company, Indian company and a local company.
Wow.
So
that was a conscious strategic decision we took to counter the Europeans.
And that's how we went and bid, and we became technically one. And when the price bid was opened, we were the lowest.
Okay.
So
it's also a matter of pride in the Asian region to getting together this kind of.
So we were able to technically show superiority to the Germans and the ones which they were used to working with.
Okay.
So having established that, it gave us definitely a confidence that when we do our selection of our consortium partners, we do know the country as well as our client. So it needs to examine both these aspects when we choose our consortium partners. Small and large is immaterial.
Okay.
I may be small or the other client consortium partner may be small. Those are incidental matters. But what matters is what goes to the client is that we are able to convey to them that this consortium is best suited for the project delivery.
Oh, that was really amazing.
That's how the teams are.
That's how we do work out, even in the domestic market too. When we work on consortiums, while killing competition is one of the factors.
Yeah.
But when we choose our partners, we need to make sure that this consortium is the one which the client will appreciate and accept in its entity. Those small nuances are the ones which help us in creating our consortiums, and hopefully we have done 3 or 4 large ones and one here, and we are confident that we'll be able to move forward with something more that we can deliver to the country as well as the globe.
Yeah.
Just to add to what he's saying, normally partnerships are looked as 1 plus 1 is 2. We look at 1 plus 1 should make at least 3, 4, if not 11. Because otherwise there's no point just making 1 plus 1, 2, then you can pick anybody. But then we want to make sure that 1 plus 1 is definitely more than 2.
Yeah.
That's the reason we pick and choose partners based on that input. That
No,
important.
different nations also. Like China is different from Korea.
Exactly.
But you had people.
Oh,
But,
yes.
So it requires a very mature understanding and thinking of even
add-
the geopolitical
Yeah,
situation.
to add to what Manoranjan said, we really look at the competence level, not the size. Neither are we scared of the size. They might be big because we are confident about our technical level. So we know that they will value that.
Correct.
And if you are like-minded, then yes, they also don't look at size. They say, yes, this is the value you bring to this particular project. And that's all is required, whatever be your size. So over a period of time, we've been able to bring that kind of value, which is appreciated very much. And again, to add to what Oman project, I felt very nice. After almost 15 years, I traveled to one of the Gulf countries recently, and people still remember and are scared. Oh my God, you are coming to bid for this. So they were still scared that okay, you're back
That
again.
kind of a credibility.
Exactly, you're back again. Kind of, I had people saying, oh my God, you're back again in the.
So instilling fear among.
Yes. So almost after 15 years now, because that
companies.
was about 2010 and things like that. But now again, people just said, oh my, yes, that should be something to be scared of. So that feels nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I want
see,
to ask you any other differences.
See, whenever BARSYL enters, it's the competitors, of course, are afraid, but partners are also equally rattled.
They well behaved.
You know why? Because sooner or later, I think BARSYL will take the lead role. Because client will only look to BARSYL. We have been a 10% partner, 17% partner, 25% partner,
Okay.
whereas the 75, 83 and 90 has been with others. But then who is more comfortable? The client is more comfortable with. Whom does he actually deal with for whenever he has a problem? Instead of going to the leader or the team leader, they always look at BARSYL. I mean, I was thinking that this may be a one-off case, but that's not the case.
Okay.
80% or probably 90% of the times, somehow we have been able to make the client feel, rightly so, that the BARSYL is more dependable, more technically sound, and more futuristic oriented company. So that is one problem also in that, because partners, when they say BARSYL should we go with BARSYL or not? So nowadays, we say anyway, whether we get 15% or 30%, we are going to lead. So better give 51% so that you don't even have to worry much.
No, taking off from what RK says, I'll give you a live example of how it happens. I mean, in Tanzania, where we are working on the SGR line, there were concerns for the consortium with regard to fund release that was taking place.
Okay.
The Koreans, who were our leaders, in one of the meetings that we had, it was a virtual meeting, I told them, I said, how long are you going to be suffering? So he said, no, if we write a letter that strong, the client will get upset. I said, you don't have to worry. I'll draft out a letter and send it to you.
Okay.
First they were making various drafts, but I said, I'll send out a draft to you. I sent out a draft to them, duly consulting among ourselves, Sunil and myself. We did prepare that draft, we sent it out. That became the norm. And That's how it happens. Coming back to the Oman one, per se, look, the Koreans have a little language difficulty. They are not able to converse, and globally it becomes a concern. Whereas the Indians as a company and as a country are someone who does not hesitate to talk to anybody at any level.
Very nice. Matter of national pride.
Yes.
I mean, that's how it works. And when the interviews were taking place for our consortium, the Koreans handed it over to us. BARSYL, you please go and talk, and it's your job to convince the client.
Okay.
And that's how we did that. And similarly comes from whatever RK was mentioning, is our experience at Chennai.
Okay.
At Chennai, we were 10% partner.
17.
Initially, to begin with.
First one, yeah,
Yes,
10%.
Yeah, 15 years ago.
15 years ago, we were a 10% partner. But the entire project predominantly was controlled and managed by BARSYL with the client.
10% manages 90%.
Yes, exactly.
You had multinationals leading them, the likes of Aegis, AECOM, etc. We were the smallest partner. All the
Not probably.
Japanese maybe could have been similar.
Yeah.
But when it came to running the whole GC assignment, BARSYL was the. So that's how, while we work in consortium, that's a strength we have evolved over a period of time, that in spite of whatever be our contribution to the consortium in percentages for us, but when it comes to dealing with clients and within the consortium, we play a prominent role. And that's how.
That's remarkable. I think that's what we are talking about, trust, earning the trust of the clients.
Exactly. See, this is one of the major differentiators, like what he said. Though we were small, but then both of them were comfortable. Even the leaders were comfortable in giving us that so-called power. The client was comfortable in talking to us. So that made it easier for everybody to accept it. Bigger acceptance was for these large corporations, because for them it was more like a ego hurt. But then they accepted reality and they said, yes, this is what is good for the project. So yes, if we are comfortable, the client of course was comfortable. So this is what we try to bring in every project, irrespective of the size of our contribution. But yes, we try to get that sort of leadership position there in terms of delivery. But that is finally, like I said, everybody's goal, that we need to keep the client, deliver to the client what they want. And that is what we are able to kind of discuss amongst ourselves and meet that requirement.
So the driving force of your company, as I see it, is that quality of to lead, unfazed by the size or the what percentage of contribution.
Yes.
So that you've evolved over time. And now when you go for other projects, you already have
that
confidence.
See, that comes basically from the confidence we have in our technical team.
Okay.
See, because we are sure that whatever we commit, we'll be able to deliver. See, so it's basically what RK said earlier, that since we have a strong resource of technical people available to us, that's why we are confident that whatever be the problem we get stuck in, we'll be able to come up with somebody who has knowledge about that, who will be able to guide us to that. So that brings us there.
On that aspect of it, when it comes to technical skill, whether I have it or don't have it, not there. We have one person who can search for the solution for that person, that skill and that problem that we land into.
Okay. That is important. Obviously, you won't have all the competence.
Exactly.
So
See, it is
over there, what RK said, that 30,000 links which Sunil has helps the organization enormously. In the sense, if we are stuck in any technical issue, in spite of having leaders on as in our consortium, there definitely will be times when there will be some concerns which the client has, and we need to provide a solution. That's where his skill sets, which I calling it.
So you should know where to look and whom to look for and how to get them at the right time.
Yeah, see, more than where to look, like I said, yes, I've been lucky that over these 30
You have them all with you?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm in regular touch, we exchange notes. So, broadly I know who specializes or who's good at what. Because, yes, while everybody might be a railway engineer, but each of them has a specialization. Which, because I've been interacting with them since I travel a lot, meet with them, have worked on various projects with them, I am able to make out that which person is exactly suitable for what role. So that fortunately comes in handy that yes, broadly if we are stuck, then we are able to make out immediately that out of these three, this particular person would be the right resource to handle that kind of situation. So
Any time where your judgment has gone wrong or created a little bit of difficulty?
it happens, yes, it has happened. Yes.
I know why you want to talk about it, because failure teaches us more than success.
Exactly.
But what happens is, we are not saying that we have not faced a situation.
You've overcome it.
We have to overcome that. And that's where this thing comes about. And that is where what leads to customer trust.
Yes.
You were inquiring as one of your queries was
Customer trust.
Trust.
Yes.
The trust part of it is, we don't look at any assignment within the framework of the work order.
Scope.
We go beyond that.
Exactly. I was coming to that question.
Yes.
It's not as a one-off project, but
Yes.
it's a permanent
So
relationship.
for us, when we interact with a customer or with a client, we are predominantly not looking for that one work order type of job. We are trying to be his solution provider, and he must look up to me as a.
Yeah.
So if he is able to accept me in the sense that I should be a person or a company which can solve his problem, then I am the choice.
Yeah. This is a good question. Actually, I want all of you also to
Arshay
listen.
would like to add.
Because it's a long-term association.
The hallmark of success is basically because of two factors: knowledge and confidence. So confidence without knowledge, where will it take you? And knowledge without confidence also cannot reach you anywhere.
Correct.
So BARSYL has both. In spite of its size, if you have the knowledge but also have the confidence, then probably you will reach where we are. We have reached and we are further trying to reach.
Okay. I think we'll look to Sunil for the last few words on this.
Okay.
How you look at your relationship with clients? Is it now as a one-off project or a long-term relationship?
See, to me, a client is a human being first. I don't look at client as a entity. Now, any human relationship is a two-way street. It cannot be one-way. So that is something I like to build upon. And like I said, I don't look at the individual there as a brand of that particular organization, because as professionals, he might keep on moving. Now, so I cannot develop a transactional relationship. The relationship should be such that wherever he or she moves, they should still look up to me if there is a need. Now, that is how I begin my relationship. Not because this particular person is today in this organization and I want business from this particular organization. No, as a professional, and that is how we build relationships. That yes, we are looking at long term. So forget, big or small, again, is not the criteria. If you have a problem, we are there to solve the problem and not get into nitty-gritty of you didn't say this or you didn't write this in your requirement for me or things like that. No, we get into it, and if we find that this is not going to solve the problem, we do whatever is required to be done. Because we are sure that yes, if you do a job, eventually you go back to the client and ask them that I spent more, they will pay. So no point haggling over that in the beginning, because as somebody rightly said, in my initial days when we were discussing the scope, he says, I don't know, you know what you are supposed to do. So why are you asking me? Well, I told you my problem. So you write down what should be the solution and you go by it. So that is stuck to us as a policy, that we can't go by, because the client, if he is supposed to give you the prescription, then it's not that we are going to sell a tablet only. The client has come to you with a problem, so we need to write the prescription and then tell them that yes, this is what we will do it. If required, we will do more than that. But finally, the headache should go away.
Correct.
So that is how you look at
ultimately,
it.
results speak for themselves, and your knowledge, confidence, courage to take on big projects, and long-term relationship with clients is what sets BARSYL apart from the rest. And to learn more, we will get back to another episode of MD Speaks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aruna. Thank you very much. Thank you.